day descends into the evening. We're here for Game 4 from Les Miller Field at Curtis Granderson Stadium in Chicago, Illinois. It's the 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament on the Windy City Sports Network. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Malater, third member of our team, Austin Kroon, joins us for this game here, the fourth of our 5 18U senior baseball contests from the University of Illinois, Chicago on WCSN. We welcome you all in to this presentation. We're going to have one more after this. Cav and I have been here all day, and I'll start with you, Cav. We've seen both of these teams. We've seen Minnesota get a gritty, hard-earned win, and we've seen Kansas City start off fast but slow down to the finish line and defeat earlier to the Reds.
The best thing that could happen for this Kansas City team was not having to play the back-to-back games. After they lost that first game, they got to take a couple of games off, regroup, reevaluate what went well, what went wrong. They can now come back tonight with an opportunity to get back to 500 into this tournament. I think that was almost the worst thing that happened to Indy after losing in heartbreaking fashion. They had to turn around 20 minutes later and play another game against a very good ball club, and we saw the results of it. They lost, and they're 0-2, likely out of championship contention at this point. I don't think a two-loss team is likely to make it. Yeah,
and you imagine what KC has done with their time, finishing early. Did they go home? Did they go to the hotel? Did they stay out here? What did they do? How did they figure it out? How's the body clock feeling for the Royals?
I mean, the body clock is going to be what it's going to be. The best thing that you can do in this scenario is just take it easy. You want to have a bigger lunch, but also have it earlier in the day, essentially, so that you're ready to go for this ball game tonight. It's essentially a quick rest up, sometimes at a local restaurant or a coffee shop. Sometimes maybe even here, you find a shady spot in the park. You're just relaxing until you have to go hit in the cages and go get work in before your next game.
AC, you were here last year for all the games.
I was.
Minnesota did not win a game.
They did not.
They open up today with a walk-off inside the park home run. Morale has got to be on an all-time high.
And how can it really not be, Ryan? You look at the games from last year and you go, you know what? This is not the year we really wanted. It's time to turn things around, and you have such a highlighted walk-off that really does have the morale up.
As this ball is chopped towards second, scooped up by Aleman Bishop Oliver, and that was Otto Bears who grounds into the first out of the game. It's Aleman Bishop Oliver, who's the second baseman today. His brother Ali is the starting pitcher for Kansas City. The first three for the Minnesota Twins Nike RBI club is Otto Bears, who just grounded out, Peter Dalma, and Aiden Walsh, the inside the park walk-off hero from game number 1 today for Minnesota. That's line right to the first baseman, and how about that one from Miguel Navarro, 2 up, 2 down.
Nice play there at first base, and this Royals team at the beginning of the day, in the morning time, showed off the flashes of the leather on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they only committed 1 error in that first game, and really they showed off how they were keeping that game. Good defense, play small ball on offense, and that Navarro plays is a microcosm of that.
And Kevin, I know you talked about earlier, what did the Twins do in between their games? When I was coming over from the softball field, that being Flames Field, I saw some of the players taking naps and getting shade under oak trees. So they were not leaving the area. They were sitting underneath, eating some lunch, and just relaxing and watching vibes.
Listen, and those that weren't taking their naps, having their food, were hanging out with us. They were right in front of us, talking with Kevin and I. That one's hit right back up the middle by Walsh, and that's going to be a base hit to start us off. We break the seal, and it's the pitcher today, Aiden Walsh, the man who got the last hit of the last game, gets the first hit of this one.
That's a simple piece of hitting right there. He gets a fastball over the middle, and watch him drive it. Mistake there by Ali Bishop Oliver. Early count, you're trying to establish the strike zone in the first inning, but that's where the struggles can come into play.
Long day of ball ahead of us in this one. Bishop Oliver winds. It's a breaking ball that's upstairs. It's a throw from the catcher. It's too high for Aleman Bishop Oliver, and the tag is not in time as Aiden Walsh slides in and steals second, puts himself in scoring position with 2 away.
And something that I've seen a lot baseball and softball side now, stealing bags has really been the A game for a lot of teams. You play the small ball aspect of everything. You take second. Sometimes you're able to take third on a wild pitch or maybe a double steal, and that has really allowed all teams from all over to really feel good offensively.
1-1 count for the first baseman, James Cray. The righty Bishop Oliver throws it a little low, and he falls behind in the count.
Yeah, right here for Ali Bishop Oliver, you're going to want to ignore that runner on second base. We saw in the last game, Hogg did a great job on the mound, just throwing strikes, playing pitch and catch, not worrying about that base runner on base. And he succeeded very well on the mound in relief. That's something that Ollie Bishop Oliver is going to have to do tonight.
3-1 from Bishop Oliver. It's outside and a 5-pitch walk to Cray. Puts runners on first and second, and Eric Kane, the third baseman, will step up. That's something we haven't seen a lot of success with on the baseball side. We get pitchers who get runners on the bag, Austin, and they really struggle to ignore those guys when all they need is one out.
Yeah, and sometimes just getting in your head about the guys you've allowed on base is somewhat that has been able to tarnish some of the pitching, just whether it's collegiately or whether it's here in Chicago. You're going to see that sometimes they're too worried about the guy making dances and moves on the bags when he should really be worried about facing the guy up. He almost just hit him on that one and still have to give up a stolen bag.
Kane slides out of the way, and Walsh steals third, so he's stolen second and third. He's 90 feet from home plate. 2-0 count with 2 outs in the first inning. Bishop Oliver's the pitcher. The batter in the right-handed box is Eric Kane, the third baseman. He's the 5th batter in the lineup. The rest of the lineup in the 6th spot is Ezra Kuznia, the center fielder, then Noah Jeffrey, the left fielder, Alex Lensmeyer, the catcher, and rounding it out is James Steiner, the right fielder for this Twins Nike RBI club that's 1-0. That one's a little low, and it'll be a 3-0 count. And already, Bishop Oliver off to a poor start. He was great at the shortstop spot earlier, still working his way into the mound.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's those first inning jitters a lot of times that pitchers will have. They're trying to find the command of the strike zone. Also, a new home plate umpire, so you're trying to figure out where he's giving it on both sides as well.
He's got it back to a full count with 2 away. Runners on the corners, still a 0-0 ball game. And he tries to go for a pickoff. And that's nowhere near in time as Cray slides in safely. All 5'5" of Ollie Bishop Oliver. Raytwan South, class of 2025. He's inside, and that's going to be a walk. We'll go full. It was actually a 3-1 count, and the bases are juiced.
So that's not good because he can't seem to locate the fastball right now. Nothing's really working for him. So it's about resetting here. He's going to come back out of the windup. A smart decision here. He was more comfortable out of the windup early in this inning than he has been out of the stretch.
First offering, couldn't catch the bottom corner, and it's a 1-0 to Kuznia, the center fielder. Got a lot of action out there in that big, wide open, grassy space. That one caught the zone, and that's a big one for the confidence. Righty-righty matchup. Bishop Oliver works. It's hit hard and foul down the first base line.
And you're now seeing Ollie Bishop Oliver work out of his normal windup. He's not able to give up a free pass because every station is being loaded. So now he's just got to worry about the guy at hand. May have wanted to do this move earlier.
Missed that one low, and we go to the deuces. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Walsh is on third, Cray's on second, and Kuznia thought that grazed him. The umpire behind home plate says no way. We go full. The man on first, just to round it out, is Eric Kane. Now the umps are having a conversation. Now they'll go talk to the third base coach. That's as simple as just trying to sort it out, in all honesty.
Yep.
3-2, 2 outs. Everybody went on contact. It's fouled off. Everybody got a head start knowing that there's no other reason not to. As a pitcher here, you're trying to deal with what you can control, right? One-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, you're not focused on the runners right now. You're focused on this one pitch right here. And once again, even if I'm in this scenario, I'd always just try to go fastball, and if I left it over the heart of the plate, make him beat me. I'm not going to beat myself here by trying to nibble around the corners on a 3-2 with the bases loaded.
Bishop Oliver works quickly. 8th pitch of the at-bat. That one's pushed out to right field. Going back is Jones. He's not going to get there. One's already come in to score. Here comes Cray. Kane's coming around. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3 in the first inning for the Twins. A big bases-clearing double from Ezra Kuznia, and it's 3-0 Minnesota.
Well, he left the fastball over the heart of the plate. And like a lot of pitchers, one-out scenario, Kuznia beat the pitcher and Ali Bishop Oliver. A nice swing there, short, simple approach to the opposite side. And he makes him pay. My goodness. How about this Twins team? This is a team that was struggling for runs the majority of their first game, but was still hanging in it. Now all of a sudden is on a roll offensively. Who would have believed that?
And Kevin, you said it. In those situations, it's full. The runners are moving on contact. You're going to have to force the batter to go after it. You're going to give him something to hit. Just see if he's able to really put a swing into it. And that's what Ezra Kuznia did.
This is the left fielder, Noah Jeffrey. Bats left-handed, but throws right-handed. Jeffrey pitched in the last game, came in relief. 2 outs on a 2-1 count. Kuznia the hero on second. Got him to look at that one, and we're even at 2 apiece. That one grounded towards the third base coach. Tried to bare-handed, couldn't hang on. That's going to
Come on.
be a rough trip back to the dugout whenever he goes.
Oh, man. How do you...
The "oh man" sounded so sorry. 2-2, 2 outs. Bishop Oliver checks the runner at second. It's upstairs. Oh man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
All right.
1-0 Twins, 0-1 Royals. Bishop Oliver inside walks him on 6, and we'll go to the 8th batter in the inning, Alex Lensmeyer, the catcher.
Now, this is an offensive explosion that we have not seen from the Twins in our 2 years doing this event as broadcasters. 8 batters in an inning right now. They've already scored 3 here. I mean, and they're still going.
How much of that is there's a good pitch there and swing and a miss from Lensmeyer? Do you circle on the early struggles for Bishop Oliver on the hill?
It's about half and half. Because even if a pitcher struggles in the first inning, a lot of hitters are still trying to figure out their timing against the arms right now. I mean, especially after that game in which they faced a guy in Schiebler from Indianapolis who was going full-on, 2014 Johnny Cueto on all of them with all the changing in the motions of he coming to the plate.
0-2, hit hard towards first base. It gets through the gap for a base hit. Coming around to score, here comes Kuznia. And that's a 4-zip score. Just 2/3 into the game. We've seen 8 batters and 4 of them have come across.
Another great piece of hitting right there. That's probably the first mistake that Bishop Oliver has made today. He left a fastball over the heart of the plate. Jeffrey was late to it. He was late to that baseball. And not to mention the heads-up base right there. Or excuse me, Lensmeyer was late to that baseball. Jeffrey, by the way, did a great job essentially acting as a moving screen there, Austin.
Yeah, and you actually see that a lot. Just get in the way of the defender, unable to see where the ball is really going to go. You see it a lot in hockey and in basketball.
That one comes straight back to Bishop Oliver. He bare hands it and throws it away. It was a good grab by the first baseman. He was off the bag and chalked that one down. I'm going to say as a base hit. Woe to the experts. I mean, that to me feels like it's enough. I don't know if that's quite a throwing error.
They're deliberating next door.
I think it could honestly go either way, depending
give him
on.
a hit for that.
We'll give him a hit.
No, hold on, guys. If you kept looking, we got the mouth words of error. So I think he's going E1 on that one.
Okay. See, I understand it because Navarro, he did have to go off. He would have made a really good, ballerina-esque catch, just getting his foot tapped on the top of the bag. Took him off. It really would have been a close play either way, Ryan. Not really sure, but in this situation, we will call it E1.
Bases loaded again. Second time this frame. And back up to the top for Otto Bears as the heat reigns over Chicago. We hit about 4:20 local time. It was a good start for Bishop Oliver. Got the first 2 guys he faced out. Has since slipped away as Bears pops one back into the Granderson stands. I feel like we haven't seen him ahead in the count in a long time. Everybody's on a bag. The 0-1 just missed outside.
And I think there's something to say about in a situation where you have historically not done the greatest offensively, coming in and really showing everybody we're going to put up a lot of runs in the first inning against a new team. That sets the tone for the rest of it.
Bishop Oliver working quickly as Bears flares one out into center field. Underneath it is Bryant, and Saron Bryant finally ends the inning. Not before 4 crossed for Minnesota. That offense is cooking. They are finding their feet. in this 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional. Home half of the first, Kansas City 0-1 in this RBI regional tournament. Comes to the plate with Ali Bishop Oliver, the pitcher, after he just gave up 4 runs in the top of the first. First offering to the righty, Bishop Oliver, is inside for a ball. It's the pitcher, and then it's Joxel Dominguez, the shortstop, then Miguel Navarro, the first baseman. The 3 due up for Kansas City, trying to claw their way out of an early deficit. They face Aiden Walsh, the hero of game number 1 for Minnesota.
Yeah, and I mean, Walsh, how about this assignment for him, man? For being the walk-off hero, you get the ball in the next game, game 2, and the best part of that, he has a 4-run cushion.
Bishop Oliver knocks one off to the shortstop. That's routine, and good stuff scooped up by Peter Dauma for the first down of the bottom of the first.
You also got to think, Ali Bishop Oliver, he was just playing shortstop. So now he's got to completely switch his mind from not being the infield general, but from being the entire defensive general himself. So the fact that he's now have to switch his mindset and figure out what he wants to go to, that might be one of the reasons he was struggling early.
That takes away from some of the things he can do so well as an athlete, but eventually when you're Kansas City, you got to go to the guy when you got to go to him. Here's Joxel Dominguez, the shortstop. Didn't see a lot of him in the first game. That's a great pitch from Walsh.
Yeah, but for Ali Bishop Oliver, though, I don't think it's because of the fact that he was playing shortstop. It's just one of those things where it's just like a guy's going to come in and struggle right away. Like, for example, right there. Walsh has been so good, but he hits the batter right there.
Oh, and it's not necessarily the fact that he was at shortstop. You cannot put the entire blame or any real blame on it. You're just saying that there is a potential factor that is going into that kind of outing he had.
Dominguez is on first. Navarro, the lefty, comes in. And it's Rolando Calderon, Jesus Gonzalez, the third baseman, Saron Bryant, the center fielder, bats 6th. That one's fouled down the third base line. Wyatt Coates, Alameen Bishop Oliver, Ali's brother, and DeMarquion Jones rounds it out for the Royals Nike RBI Ball Club. 0-1 on the season. Started off hot, had a really good morning. They got going pretty fast, and then all fell off the rails against a Reds team that's turned out to be one of the better teams we've been able to see so far here.
Yeah, and that's where it's been fun to start comparing these teams now. As we talked about a little bit a couple of games ago, Ryan, you and I did, where it was, you know, I brought up the opinion, second game's the most important game. That's where you really see the character of a baseball club. You can really see how a team can evolve over the course of a tournament. And right there, that was a very good response by Cincinnati in their second game. And we'll see how the Twins do in their second game. So far, so good.
Hit hard towards second. They'll go 4. They'll go 6. Will they get 3? Yes, they will. They turn 2 to get out of the inning. Minnesota, how about that? On the offensive end, they put up 4, and they keep the Royals scoreless. We're through 1 on WCSN. Top of the second, Ali Bishop Oliver fires in the first offering to Peter Dauma, the number 2 hitter. He batted in the first and lined out to the first baseman. It was a great Webb Gem-esque play. He swings on the second when he sees that's going to be down for a base hit. Bryant picks it up, but Dauma starts him off with a lead-off single.
So that'll get the Minnesota fans going again, and rightfully so. I mean, this offense is rolling right now. I mean, this is the tied for one of the biggest margins of lead we've seen today, Ryan, at 4.
It's, by my mark, the biggest lead we've seen in a game since the 6-0 White Sox lead. Did they have a 6-0 lead the other day or no?
Last night, the 15U team did, yes.
Yeah, so that's the largest lead we've really seen on the boys' side in general, as that one goes behind the third batter, Walsh.
Not the largest I've seen today.
Yeah, Austin's been at softball all day.
So
folks,
to put this into perspective, 3 games, I'll play-by-play on all of them, 3 run rules.
Oh, almost got him there
first. For game 1, the final score was 20-1. Second game was 17-2. Last game, 3 for 3, 20-0.
Well, you're telling me it's 3 barn burners.
So that's
yeah.
a run differential between winner and loser of 54. As Bishop Oliver, Walsh shows bunt, the runner goes. Dauma's going to have a chance to get in there, and he did. He slid around the tag.
Wow. He was swimming on that one. It looked like Michael Phelps getting around that tag.
I mean, that's about as clean as you can get with the swim move right there. Some Royals fans are going to try to make noise because that's going to help a lot in terms of getting the call overturned. But let me tell you, though, that was a phenomenal swim move by Peter Dauma.
That one's a little low, and it's a 3-0 count to Walsh, the pitcher. Singled, stole 2 bags, and scored. What can't Minnesota do to start us off? Bishop Oliver on 4 pitches. Walsh gets a free base.
And so now this is where you're starting to see the pitching depth that you brought up, that question you brought up earlier, Brian. This is where it starts to come into play now. He's officially in the realm of struggling. This is no longer going from first inning jitters to struggling. in terms of just getting his command. He hasn't established the fastball yet, and when he can't establish the fastball, that makes your job so much tougher as a pitcher.
12 batters in, only 3 guys that haven't hit the path. Here's James Cray. Was the first walk of this game. And Bishop Oliver paints the side of the zone there. So through those 12, he's got no Ks. He's given up 4 hits, and he's walked 4 batters. It's 0-2 here, though. Runner went, and because it's a foul ball, they're going to have to send Dalma back to second.
He would have been there, though.
Oh, yeah.
By a mile.
That was a clean jump. So, Kevin, you talked about the first inning jitters compared to struggling. What do you put in a situation like this? You're already down 4. Runners are in scoring position and the potential for more of them. When do you call it that the leash might be getting pulled, especially in 7 innings?
That's where it gets a little bit tricky here because it's a tournament format, and if you're at a point where you're down by so much already, you got it's trying to find the combination of stopping the bleeding while also not, as that one goes behind Cray, while also not wasting all of your arms as well, because you got to play 2 more games tomorrow.
And we've talked about it a couple times today, though, Cav, right, where the second game is so important, especially if you lost the first one. You can't lose twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Kansas City is at, is this time Dalma gets a chance to go to 3, and he's safely in. And they almost got Walsh on the back end of that, but he's back into first, so runners will go to the corners. But you can't lose 2 games. So this one becomes a must-win no matter what. So I feel like because it's a must-win, the leash is a lot shorter because you need to find the right guy to help you stay in the game.
That is true, but you also have to think, though, now, if you looking that far ahead into the tournament, you also have to take into consideration, that's a nice play, by the way, in the dugout, that there's still 2 more games left. And at some point, even though you're trying to keep your tournament hopes alive, you also know that, hey, even if we win this game, someone has to pitch tomorrow because we still can't lose the second game tomorrow. So it's one of those things of trying to find that balance. It's a very valid point, but you also have to think, though, if you're thinking that far ahead.
Runner goes. It's a wry throw into the glove of Alameen Bishop Oliver. And they get Cray for a strikeout. First K of the day on either side, but runners now both in scoring position.
That you have to think ahead and think of both perspectives of it. Because traditionally, yeah, if you're just looking at this winner-go-home game, I think Bishop Oliver would be done already. But
that one's hit hard. It's going to get in down for a base hit. We're going to make it 5-0. That's an RBI single and coming around for another chance. And that's sliding in 2 RBIs, and they'll get an extra bag after the throw. Eric Kane making it happen. 5-0 Minnesota. And they pour on another after that to make it 6. What a phenomenal stretch on the bats of the Twins RBI club.
They are rolling right now, and that's just a great piece of hitting right there. Good effort by Dominguez at short, going out trying to range and dive for that baseball. Just a little bit too past his reach right there, and I think this might be all for Ali Bishop Oliver.
Coaches come out, the infield's come in, and then been told to walk away, so it's a 1-on-1 here.
And Kevin, you talked about, hey, you got to have the guy being ready to pitch the next couple of days, but that is really a double-edged sword. If you can't win today, your chances are over, but you got to be able to sometimes risk it to see what the chances for tomorrow might bring. So the opportunity for greener pastures the next couple of days, you might have to risk it here and go for everything.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lose-lose battle if you're a coach in this scenario because you're now down 6. So if you're having this conversation, it's a lose-lose situation. You can't win this argument whatsoever. That's the tough part about this conversation is that you can't win it. Because either way, there's a fault in your thinking.
Bishop Oliver stays out there, and after barely missing on Kuznia in his first AB, it looked like he got him this time, but that one goes off the end of his bat. This is Ezra Kuznia. Doubled and scored in the first. Kane's on second after a single and an advancement on the throw. It's a 6-0 ball game. There's still only 1 out in the second inning. And the runner goes, sliding in. The throw is away, and here we go. Cain's back up off to the slide, and he's going to stand in safely. 7-0 Minnesota. Let's flip the script, right? This is a Minnesota team that was winless a year ago, has completely turned it around. It seems like they've got a little bit more experience. They've been here. They've done that. They've arrived.
And how could you not? You see these situations, everybody's going to go in thinking, if you're just going off what happened last year, oh, this is a team that we could go out, throw anybody we want, and get that nice crucial first win to get the Tides really set. Minnesota's really going and saying, you know what, we're not going to allow that this year. We're going to start attacking early. Defense is going to be the priority, and we're going to play ABC baseball, stealing the bags when need to get in scoring position, and then another clutch bloop single, and you get 2.
1-2. Kuznia right up the middle, off the bump, and in for a base hit. So Ezra Kuznia is 2 for 2, and with 1 out, hits keep on coming for the Twins. And here comes the manager once again, and you have to imagine it's going to be day done for Ali Bishop Oliver.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where he left too much over the heart of the plate, and as a pitcher, there's days where you can get away with that when your defense is there behind you, but there's some days where tonight, even though there was no errors made, or the 1 error made, excuse me, in this inning, just a couple of perfectly placed hits by this Minnesota team, and that's going to be all for Bishop Oliver.
We'll see what happens. We'll make a change, and we'll see what's going on. On the other side, it is 7-0 Twins over the Royals on WCSN. Pitcher is Jesus Gonzalez, who was the third baseman. The Bishop Olivers will share the middle infield, and I believe that is Dominguez, who was the shortstop, sliding over to third. The runner is gone. Here's Kuznia charging over. It's a high throw. It's dropped by Ali Bishop Oliver, and that'll be another stolen bag for one of the Twins. Not the Twins. The Twins are out there, but the Twins is in like the Minnesota Twins.
I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got you.
Sometimes it gets confusing.
So that puts us at 6 stolen bases for Minnesota. Couple that with a pass ball that allowed Eric Cain to score, and it's been a lot of extra bases picked up on the path just by heads-up running.
Who would have imagined this, man? 7-0 in the second inning in favor of Minnesota?
Not when we started the day, Cav. As Gonzalez misses low, he's not thrown a good ball yet.
And this is where things get ugly quickly. If he can't find a command quickly, Minnesota can go up 10 pretty early here.
Haven't had a run rule yet on the boys' side.
Uh-oh.
18U or 15U. We haven't.
Oh, no.
You're telling it is a fact.
It's a factual statement.
It's a factual statement.
And if we're on track for one, well, you might as well say it. That one's outside in a 4-pitch walk. Sees runners on second and first as Noah Jeffrey earns his second free base of the day. Jeffrey was a part of that group that got stranded when they were all loaded at the end of the first. Ground ball ends the inning. Runner's going to go. They've got a chance, and he dropped it. The third baseman, Dominguez, couldn't hang on. Jaxiel Dominguez dropped it. Kuznia went to third, and Jeffrey moved on over to second.
It's tough there for Dominguez. I mean, it's a high throw already, and he's trying to catch it and bring it back down. Can't put the blame on him there.
That one's lined and hard and foul down the third base line.
And I think in this situation, we had talked, sometimes it gets to the pitcher. It may have now creeped its way into the defenders as well. They're so focused on, hey, we got to hit, we got to get back in this lead, that they're not able to focus in on the basic plays put in front of them.
That one's low. So it's a 1-2 count to Lensmeyer. Singled, was left on second back in the first inning. That feels like forever ago. Big righty Gonzalez kicks the leg, winds and fires. That's going to get down for a base hit. Kuznia comes in and makes it 8-0. And runners will go to the corners as Jeffrey stays on third. RBI single for Alex Lensmeyer.
This is wild. And it's wild because just looking at this team from last year, their growth as a team is just absolutely incredible. From 0-4 and not being competitive. Now, granted, we mentioned, Ryan, I talked about this earlier, but luck of the draw. I mean, they got the White Sox, Cleveland, and Cincinnati all in their pool. So not really kind of the situation that they were put in to succeed in. But still, this is so impressive.
That's a towering fly ball in foul territory. Underneath it is the first baseman, Miguel Navarro. And they hold both the runners at their spots for the second out of the inning. That was James Steiner flying out.
And maybe, Kevin, that scheduling of last year, you played the three best teams in the Midwest at that point. Sometimes that can get to your head. You lose the first one, okay, you got another one to bounce back. You lose the second one, and you start thinking, this might be a loss of life here. They're going in this season facing a new team. They have new blood and new energy, and it's surely paid off.
That one hit down the third base line. It's a slow roller, scooped by Dominguez. It's a long throw. It's off target, and another run's going to cross. It's a 9-0 game. Jeffrey scores, and runners will stick on the corners once again with Lensmeyer on third. That was Otto Bars with his third plate appearance of the day. He finally gets on base, and that was the ninth batter of the inning. We're back to the start with Peter Dauma. Gonzalez will check the runner. 9-0 in 1 2/3 innings. Runner goes. Dauma pops one into the sky. Alameen Bishop Oliver is under it to end the inning. 5 more across for Minnesota. 9-zip. We'll go to the bottom of the second. to the plate comes Kansas City. It's 4-5-6. Rolando Calderon, Jesus Gonzalez, the new pitcher, and Saron Bryant, the center fielder. The 3-2 up. Aiden Walsh had a pretty good first inning. His team have given him plenty of run support.
Plenty is probably the understatement of the year, Ryan.
It's up there. That one's down in the dirt, though, from Walshy, and it's Rolando Calderon, the catcher. Still can't get over the inside the park home run to win it in game number 1, to give Minnesota its first win in at least 2 years in this competition.
Would watching an inside the infield bunt homer count as the same thing?
There'd be something unique, to
Oh,
say the least.
it was unique, all right.
Amazing plays happen here.
Only in the Windy City.
And only on WCSN.
Company man Kevin Malater. It's like he owns the place.
Shameless plug. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Someone had to do it.
Again, if you've been with us all day, thank you for being here on Windy City Sports Network 2, which is where the baseball's been all day, or the main channel where Austin and Henry Sun Devil Domini have been hanging out.
Big Tex.
Big Tex.
Big Tex.
You can find us on Twitter. What's the @, Kevin?
At Windy City SN on both Twitter and Instagram.
We're posting some highlights, some end-of-day recaps. You get a chance to hear and see those, as that one goes right back to Aiden Walsh. That's routine, and it's another 1-3. And Rolando Calderon is the 4th consecutive batter retired to start this game on the defensive side for Minnesota.
Well, there's not much you can say. Walsh has been excellent.
He's dealt.
Yep, he's dealt.
Wheeling and dealing.
This is Jesus Gonzalez, the pitcher, 2nd pitcher of the game. And Gonzalez lines one into left field. That'll get down for the first base hit of the game for Kansas City.
Well, the no-hit bid comes to an end there. Fastball hanging over the outside corner.
Oh, man.
It was a good pitch by Walsh, but an even better piece of hitting there by Jesus Gonzalez.
Just pulling it.
Pulling it.
It's hard to do that on a pitch that's out and away. You really just got to get in front of the ball and just kind of tap it.
As a pitcher, it's the most frustrating thing in the world when that happens.
More frustrating than getting your only one hit and going 1 for 14.
That was the highlight of my season. What are you talking about?
Ron Bryant puts one over there. It's backhanded by the shortstop, and the second baseman Bears can't make the play. Dauma had a great grab, but that'll probably be chalked down as what?
E4.
I'd say E4.
E4, and Bryant moves to first.
Bryant's on first because of an E4.
Gonzalez moves to second because of the E4.
And that was almost perfect from Peter Dauma. But instead, with only one out, there's runners on first and second for Wyatt Coates, the left fielder. That's outside by quite a healthy margin. The wind is still blowing. It's blowing out towards the batter's eye here at Les Miller Field. The beautiful, beautiful backdrop. Fouled straight back by Coates. On deck, Alameen Bishop Oliver. In the hole, DeMarquion Jones, and that would get us through the side for Kansas City. Coates lifts one left field towards Noah Jeffrey, who makes the play and holds the runners for the second out of the inning.
Good piece of hitting there. Just better defense by Jeffrey out there in left field. Just made a great read on that baseball, tracked it down, made the catch.
He got underneath it.
Exactly.
He didn't even move.
It was a good read.
Okay.
No one else was talking.
This seems like a quarrel between you two.
Sticking out
I'm
of it.
not the guy who's supposed to talk there.
He got underneath it. We've seen several outfield blunders today, especially in this ballpark in this outfield. Getting underneath it with a good break and a good jump is important.
Here's the speedster, Alameen Bishop Oliver, a little bit taller and a year older than his brother Ali. And he swings and misses on that one. 0-2, 2 outs, a strike away from getting out of the inning, keeping them scoreless for Walsh. Swing and a miss, Bishop Oliver, and a little bit better from Kansas City. They get 2 on, but strand them both. It's 9-0 after 2. We'll be back with a little bit more. Let's see if our analysts can make friends. Walsh, James Cray, Eric Can, 3-4-5. Due up for Minnesota. 9 runs through the first 2 innings for Twins Nike RBI. If you told me that a year ago today, I wouldn't have believed you. They have been phenomenal. What a turnaround this has been for them in this competition. That one's in and up from Jesus Gonzalez, who stays out here for the 3rd inning.
And the potential that they had last year was definitely shown through. You knew they just needed one good year to recoup and relax and build that chemistry together, and it's finally paying off here in 2023.
I spoke to Cavan earlier about it, and Austin, Cavan talked a lot about how you could see the grit, you could see the hustle, and eventually with a lot of time and a lot of effort, which they were already giving, it was going to translate into success.
Yeah, it was, and we talked to their coaching staff a year ago, and he said, you know, it's a young team. We haven't played together a lot, but do not count us out. The next couple of years, we are going to fight together, cry together, bleed together, and they've done it, and it's surely paid off.
1-2 count to Walsh, the pitcher, who's batted twice and scored on both occasions. Single, snagged 2 bags in the first, and a walk and snagged second in the 3rd. It's pretty much a theme today. You get on base, you steal. Here's the 2-2 from Gonzalez, the righty. Right back to him. He snagged it, glove hand, and that's perfect from Jesus.
I don't think he really expected that. He just kind of threw his hands up to protect himself, and it went right into his red mitt.
I feel like that's, and I'm going to ask you this, Cavan, that's kind of the only thing a pitcher can do sometimes on those is get in a defensive spot and hope your glove catches it at the right time.
That's exactly right. You're just trying, and you need a lot of luck to make sure it doesn't hit you, because it's always scary seeing that ball come back at you. As someone who's been hit with a comebacker before, it's one of the scariest things ever. So sometimes all it takes is just throwing that glove up there and just hoping it finds the leather.
Gonzalez threw so hard that time his hat came off. To James Cray, who takes the fastball, pushes it right back into the outfield for a base hit. That's Cray's first hit of the game. He was previously 0 for 1 with a walk in the first and a strikeout in the 3rd. So with 1 out, 1 gets on for Minnesota.
And once again, just strong hitting. It's nothing been too spectacular. It's just good, consistent hitting, which frustrates the pitchers out there, because you can make your best pitch, but if they're just getting the bat on it, you're just nothing you can do about it as a pitcher. And it's sometimes the most frustrating thing in the world out there, because you're like, man, Like, I'm throwing everything I got, and they're still finding a way to hit it.
Probably the hardest hit ball all day was the double off of Ezra Kuznia's bat in the first inning. Everything since then has either been hit by pitch, walk, or single.
1-0 smacked up the middle. That's going to get down for another base hit. Cray's going to move to second, and Eric Kane with back-to-back singles, and the Twins team are once again in business.
And there's something so satisfying about playing station-to-station baseball. The offense feels that everyone is able to pitch in on this. You're not getting a guy who's going to walk and then somebody hits a towering shot to left. Everyone's in on it, and the pitcher on the other side cannot stand it.
When you're in the dugout on the third base side like Minnesota is right now, and you're seeing these guys just come up, pepper, single, shallow infield after shallow infield shot, it's got to give you some confidence. That one comes back to Gonzalez. A chance to turn two. We go 1, we go 4. Did they get 3? They should have, and they did. So more on that in a second after the break. Jesus Gonzalez helps his team turn 2, and finally, Minnesota goes scoreless in an inning. It's still 9-0. Bottom of the third next. Kansas City kept Minnesota scoreless in the first half of the third inning, and now they go with the 9-hitter DeMarquion Jones to lead it off before we flip it back to the top. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Malater, Austin Kroom joining us for this fourth of 5 games today on the Windy City Sports Network second YouTube page, WCSN2. We've had baseball here all day. We'll have one more baseball game for you after this. We'll go to the main page for that. And it's a first pitch ball low and away to Jones from Aiden Walsh, who's still out there for inning number 3. Swing and a miss from Jones. That next game's a big one for the grand scheme of this pool. You've got a Cubs team that tied the presumptive favorite last night in the White Sox team. So it's a big opportunity for the Cubbies to maybe go out there and get a result done. Jones grounds one to short. He's got speed, but not enough to beat that ball. And that's a routine 6-3 as we flip it back to the top with Ollie Bishop Oliver.
And not to mention, they're also playing a Tigers team who's currently playing their first game right now over at Whitney Young High School, so literally just down the road, hop, skip, and a jump from here. And so they're going to be fresh off a game against Cleveland, another team that's a favorite amongst many who are coming in this weekend just because of what they were able to accomplish last season. Cleveland's currently up 3-1 in that game right now, so it's a big spot for both teams.
Bishop Oliver 0 for 1, grounded out to the shortstop. You take a look at the standings right now. The Reds are 2-0, the only team to play 2 games and win both. This Twins team is 1-0, well on their way to being 2-0, as that's a base hit from Bishop Oliver. Royals bats continue to get better and better as this game progresses. You've got a Cubs team that is 0-1 with that tie last night. Same with the White Sox Ace Club. Guardians and Tigers playing their first game, as you mentioned, and we've got an 0-1 Royals team, well on their way to probably a second loss here, and an Indianapolis Circle City club that's 0-2. That's how the standings in 18U stack up. we've had a chance to talk and pretty much see every team except for the Guardians and the Tigers. And right now, I mean, that table pretty much racks up like you'd expect it to.
It's something that's been in the air in the States for Ohio and Illinois. Like both of them, the two Chicago teams, they did so well last year, and the same thing with the two Ohio teams. It could be somewhat of the same this year, but there are things to be said about teams like the Twins and even some of the newcomers. You're not really sure what you're going to get because of that new blood and not being able to really scout them out.
This is Joxiel Dominguez, who's playing third base now, started as the shortstop. Runner goes. It's a really bad throw.
My.
Bishop Oliver slides in safely. If he didn't slide and he tried to turn for 3 right off the bat, he could have gotten there. I'm not saying that's what he should have done, but
Down 9, probably don't want to do that.
he could have.
Yeah.
He could have. No, you're right. He could have. Just wouldn't have been a very smart decision.
Never. So Dominguez ahead in the count 2-0. Hit hard. Dominguez into the glove of the third baseman. And Kane has nowhere to go, and now they've got Bishop Oliver in a pickle. He's quick enough to get away from it, but he runs right into it. He was just chugging on towards home, and he's tagged out on the path. Safely in at first is Dominguez.
And right there, that just can't happen if you're Ali Bishop Oliver. It just can't. You can't afford to have that down by 9 runs right now. If you want any resemblance or hope of coming back, that just cannot happen. I'm sorry, that just can't.
I'm somewhat surprised he didn't dive back into third. It seemed like it was all fun and games, you know, taking that long turn at third, trying to play some mind games, but he just kept going home.
That's the second out of the inning, and Miguel Navarro lines one in for a base hit to center field, and that makes the Bishop Oliver base running blunder look even more silly.
Exactly, because that's a run right there if he didn't do that.
That will officially be marked, though, as a fielder's choice 5-1 putout.
Mm-hmm.
Dominguez stands at second. Navarro at first. It's the same scenario they had in the second inning. They left 2 guys on the path. Gonzalez at second and Saran Bryant at first base. Here's Rolando Calderon. Austin brought up a little earlier the success of the Ohio teams and the 2 Windy City programs, the Northsiders and the Southsiders. Is there a reason for that other than, I mean, I guess you can maybe point to population as a potential reason there?
It's just the fact that these are growing baseball markets right now. I mean, right now in the city of Chicago, in terms of high school sports popularity, it's basketball one. Basketball is number 1 here. But number 2 is baseball in the city. High school baseball is immensely popular in this city. It's a growing sport rapidly. I mean, every year the city championship game, which is for kids in the city championship game is what you want to accomplish. Obviously, state's nice, but no city team really ever wins a state championship in baseball just because of how the whole bracket works out and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So the city championship is really what matters. And if you win the city championship, especially in baseball, it is a really big deal here. So everyone's trying to get to that point, and so everyone's making each other better because they all want to be in that point where they're either playing at Wrigley Field every other year or Guaranteed Rate Field every other year for a title.
Certainly going to be much of the same in Cincinnati and in Cleveland as well, you'd have to imagine. Runner's going to go. The throw is away from third base. Dominguez is in at third, and Navarro wasn't head on a swivel, so he'll stay at first. Runners at the corners for Rolando Calderon. It's a 1-2 count with 2 away.
And when you do look at the Cincinnati and Cleveland teams, Cincinnati especially, there are a lot of really good athletic private schools right outside of downtown, a bunch of them that I actually know, and some of them for the softball squad itself. You saw some of those on there. There's just something about the private school athletics in Cincinnati and in Cleveland. Some of those times, those schools cost more than college, but they will put out some of the best offense and defense.
Ball chopped to the shortstop, Dalma, and he steps on second base to end the inning. Royals still can't get anywhere. They get to third this time. They're getting closer. The Twins still up 9-0. We're through 3. Top of the fourth from Curtis Granderson Stadium, Chicago, Illinois, on the Windy City Sports Network. It's a 9-0 ball game. The Minnesota Twins, who did not win a game a year ago, are on the verge of starting 2-0 in this competition and potentially and likely on the run differential, jumping into first place in the table after this second day, this first full day on Friday here in the Windy City. Ryan Sikora, Austin Kroom, Kevin Malater. As the umpires are having a conversation, there's some catcher equipment that needs to be gathered, I'd imagine.
I believe that was a sliding mitt.
There's a sliding mitt, and now there's something going on with the catcher's equipment too. And then one fielder's getting a new glove.
You might as well. If they get a stoppage in play, go ahead.
Changes all around.
Sliding mitt.
Essentially, it protects your hand when you're on the base pass and you're trying to run. So essentially, it covers up your hand. Essentially, you wrap it in like this little Velcro plastic thing, shields your hand from cutting up, and especially when you have you typically have one hand where you dive into the bases too. It also prevents you from jamming your fingers up in the bases.
Yeah, one of the reasons the MLB players started using it is guys were trying to slide around tags and they were breaking their thumbs or pinkies because they would just try to hang on any way possible and it would just bend their finger back. And I know that's not pretty to think about, but
left hand first, right hand first.
Depends on where you're going. A lot of times, if you're it's typically you put on your left hand because when you're running into the bases, you're trying to avoid all the tags. So typically, most of the time, if you're going to try to avoid a tag, you're going to go to the left side of the base. So you're going to try to get as far out as possible and reach with your left. And then if you're trying to get back to the other base, if you're on the other side of it and you try to swim the other side, you're still using your left hand. So traditionally, it's the left hand. Austin?
So I would think you go left because you are trying to get that back corner of the bag, but there are the occasions that you do want to put it right hand. Javier Baez is one of the guys who will do that. He'll slide and he'll do like a body turning motion to get around the tag and keep his right hand on the bag while the rest of his body moves. So it's like he's pivoting his hand around the bag and staying on. So he would put the mitt on his right hand.
So while they work on the catcher's equipment, we've got some work going, and I'm curious to see if they're done yet. Does look like there's been some rotations. That's 17 behind home plate, so that would be Joxiel Dominguez, who started as the shortstop, moved to third base, and now looks like he's the catcher. That does not look like a 19. I could be wrong in that assumption, but
That's a 7.
That is a 7.
it felt like it looked like a 7. So Dominguez is behind home plate. We'll work on who's at third. This is Noah Jeffrey, the left fielder. And we believe that is Elijah Sanchez at third base. That's a good pitch from Gonzalez. And it's Jeffrey, Lensmeyer, and Steiner, 7, 8, 9 here in the fourth inning for the Twins.
Can confirm that is Elijah Sanchez.
Goldeneye,
Yes.
Austin Kroom.
Contacts are working today.
That one's away from Gonzalez. His new battery mate keeps it in front of him. Sanchez listed at 6 foot 250, Lincoln College prep. Two and two with nobody away. No sight of Jackson Staley yet. He played a key part in the first game for Kansas City. A swing and a miss from Jeffrey. And only the second strikeout of the day for the Royals staff as a whole. The first for Gonzalez. And despite all the runs they've given up, they've had relative success with the leadoff batters. 3 of the 4 they faced have been retired. That's a good pitch in there. Goes front door on the catcher, Lensmeyer.
Yeah, and it's because it's just all about just being aggressive, and the Twins are being aggressive. There just happens to is there's a hit by pitch, but it is happening to be hitting the ball hard, but right at guys typically with the first batter of the inning.
And you talked about swinging and being aggressive early. You and I talked about it the last game, Cav. Austin, I'm gonna put it on you here.
Okay.
Cavan tells me it is statistically more likely that you are to get a hit
No.
on the first pitch.
The best pitch you're going to see is going to be the pitcher you're going to the best pitch you're going to get in that
Is the
bat
first pitch
is
of
the
the-
first
yes.
pitch is the first pitch.
Yes.
Can
The
you
most hittable
explain
pitch
it better
you
than
get.
he did?
So I will have him explain it quickly, and then I will.
He didn't do a very good job in the first game.
Well, I'll explain my reason.
Okay, yeah. Give your 2 cents, and then I'll give mine.
Well, I referenced the whole Chipper Jones story that he told on ESPN a couple years ago. 99% of the time, pitchers at this age, they're trying to establish the strike zone to a different batter each time. And in order to establish the strike zone, they're going for fastball. The most hittable pitch is a fastball. And a lot of times, a fastball is going to be in the strike zone 99% of the time, or 90% of the time, to start as it's coming out of the pitcher's hand, unless it's just a wild pitch. If it's going anywhere near the strike zone, it's going to appear hittable for a hitter.
And this was a much better explanation than he gave in game number 3. So,
Okay.
I mean, use that with what you want. Runner goes. Lensmeyer, the catcher, is out of there. It's the second out of the inning. Lensmeyer, who got on via the hit by pitch, tried to steal second, is thrown out, and it's a 1-2 count to the right fielder, Steiner. And the Royals looking for an unconventional, but a first 1-2-3 of the game if they can strike him out here. Got him on the corner, and finally something going for Kansas City. Minnesota hasn't scored since the second. If the Royals can find some runs, that'd be very, very good for them. We go to the bottom of the fourth on WCSN. Home half of the fourth, Kansas City's done their job defensively the last couple frames. They've gotten better on the offensive end. A couple of changes on Minnesota on the defensive side. Ezra Kuznia coming in for the relief job of Aiden Walsh. Had a good outing. Walsh moves to second. Otto Bears moves to left because Noah Jeffrey has moved to center where Kuznia previously occupied. And here's the first pitch from Ezra. Number 45 is inside to his counterpart, Jesus Gonzalez, the relief pitcher for Kansas City.
If you're Minnesota right now, you are thinking 3 up, 3 down here. go get 2 runs, and then go get a scoreless bomb in the 5th and go home early. That's what they're thinking right now. I've been in countless dugouts where a team is in this situation, up by 9, going into the bottom of the 4th inning, and literally their exact mentality is, hey, 3-3 on, let's go get a couple of runs here, not just 1 to make it the mercy, but get 1 more just in case we give up 1, and let's go home early. And this tournament, going home early is huge. And the going home being back to the hotel, obviously not back to Minnesota, St. Paul.
And I can tell you, just from the 3 games earlier, when you would see a team, they would win, they would only have that 3 or 4 inning game. They really feel confident. The energy keeps flowing. Even if they have 2 hours of downtime, they come back to the field and are hungry to get practicing and ready.
Saves you a bunch of pitchers as well, which is something that you should all love to see.
Gonzalez fights that one off, and count stays at 1-2. As it stands, Minnesota would go to the top of the standings with a 2-0 record. They would better Reds Nike RBI on run differential. That one smacked into the sky. It's going to be playable for the new second baseman Walsh, and there's the first out of the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, and that's a routine play right there for Walsh at second base. And this is a very interesting situation here as Bryant comes up. He needs to spark something here for this Kansas City team. You know that if they don't get anything here, they're giving all the momentum back to Minnesota. Even though Minnesota's up by 9, just that tidal wave of momentum towards the Twins.
Bryant reached on an error by the second baseman today, pushes that one back up through the middle, and a base hit for Saron Bryant. And maybe there's the juice. Got to start somewhere.
I've noticed that already. You just saw Aiden Walsh. He was on the bump. He's getting moved to second. He told James Steiner in right field, hey, move in and switch your positioning. The fact that they're having this on-field, on-the-fly communication to better each other shows that they've really worked well and harnessed it.
Yeah, and Walsh is probably asking him to come in. He's not quite the speedster that Otto Bears was, who was there before, who's now out in left.
Just asked Otto Bears to move in and left.
So the infield coming in as we move closer to the bottom of the lineup. Here's Wyatt Coates, the 7-hitter. There's a little more speed in this portion of the team, but not quite the pop of the bat. Coates can run. Alameen Bishop Oliver, who's on deck, can run as well. And Demarquion Jones has some speed to him, and then they flip it back to the top for Ali Bishop Oliver. That gets underneath. And Bryant was going anyway, so he's in safely to second.
Yeah, and that pitch, I think it was crossed up. Lensmeyer there. I think he was saying fastball, and then it was a breaking ball there out of the hand of Kuznia.
Walsh was going strong. Seems a decision based upon the pitch count to move Kuznia onto the hill. It's a 2-0 count. One away in the bottom of the 4th. Chop foul and straight back. You think we get one this week, Cav? I don't think so.
I don't like our chances. I feel like we've already gotten one at this point.
The protective netting in front of us, while extremely necessary, hinders us from being able to make a play.
Mm-hmm. It really does, and it's nothing too.
Runner's going to go. They're going to have a chance to get him. That was easy breezy, and they get him out at third. Way behind. He didn't get the cleanest jump, and it was a good throw behind home plate by Lensmeyer. Saron Bryant is out of there.
And you got to look at just Lensmeyer's approach. He was basically standing up by the time that he saw Saron Bryant halfway to third. So he had him dead in the rights before the pitch was even in his mitt.
Here's the 3-1. Coates whacks that one for a base knock into left field, and that's going to be a single. 2 outs on the board, and Kansas City keep on coming.
Seems that somewhat of the juice we had just talked about is coming to life. They keep passing the batons back. They're switching off who's really carrying the boats at this point. and it might work for them, even being down 9.
I don't think it's working for them, though, because every time they do that, they're running into outs in the base paths, man. Like, it's unfortunately just not working out for them.
I do agree, but I think you got to realize that the Twins, the fact that they've really done so well stealing themselves, they might try to take a page out of their book, and it's just cost them.
So that gives us 3 options. Is it aggression? Is it frustration maybe with the results that they've seen so far today, or is it trying to do what the Twins are doing?
The first 2. Combination of the first 2.
I think it's that, but there's a point where you get angry that you're just being run around in circles by another team, and you start to get frustrated and say, if they're doing it to us, why can't we do it to them? And then you get too antsy, and that's when you get tagged out, and then the anger continues, and it's just an endless cycle.
One to Alameen Bishop Oliver. Watches it go low and away for ball 2. Ground ball all but certainly ends the inning. It's a 9-0 game, and that one's down low, same spot, 3-1. Three due up at the top of the 5th for Minnesota is 1-2-3. Bears, Dalma, and Aiden Walsh. Bishop Oliver right back to Kuznia, and it's an easy little toss over. We've played 4. Minnesota, 4 runs in the first, 5 in the second. That equals 9. Kansas City, 0s across the board. The Twins so close to starting 2-0 and going atop the 18U standings. One, two, three. Here in the top of the 5th for Minnesota. Jonas Sadowski pinch hitting for Otto Bears, who ends his line 1 for 3 today. Sadowski played a good role in the opening game for Minnesota. Gonzalez is still the pitcher. Dominguez still behind home plate as the catcher, and Sanchez still at third base. Everything else remains the same defensively for Kansas City, and that one's hit high into shallow right field. Coming in is Jones, and he makes it can of corn, and that's the first out of this 5th frame.
And right now that's a move, and this is going to be an inning for Minnesota, which they're going to coach their team based off the principle and philosophy that it is, hey, we need one run. With how good they've been playing defensively, they are confident that 1 run can do the trick, because obviously the 10 after 5 rule, it would be in effect.
They'd have to keep Kansas City scoreless on the bottom half, which so far they've been able to do.
And for the games I've called today, I know it's the difference of softball to baseball. There have been times where a team says, hey, we're down 8. Go out there and just put up as many as you can, and they'll go out and they'll put up 12 on the inning. So sometimes it really is just, hey, you need this, and you just shoot over the mark. Why not set the bar high?
This is still Peter Dalma. I won't pitch hit for him. That one gets away behind the new catcher, Dominguez. And Aiden Walsh is going to come over and grab it. He is also still going to bat for the Twins Nike RBI club. Two and one. Got a piece of it. Goes straight down into the turf, and it's 2-2. We've talked about it a ton today. The growth of this Twins team from 2022 to 2023. Coaching staff, certainly a group of men that can be chalked down to that. I guess they don't like the coaches.
The coaches are awesome. I thought you were going to finish your point.
So did I.
I was teeing you guys up.
I thought you were going somewhere with that.
Yeah.
Listen, 3-2's down low. They'll walk Dalma.
So the only thing that's going is Dalma's way down to first.
They teach you in the, the play-by-play school.
See, I don't go to one of those.
Fine,
You
you want to transition.
They teach you in the play-by-play school, right?
Was that in the summer seminar?
Instead of questions,
Yep.
I tee up with leading statements, and that just makes me look really smart. And it looks like you and I, as I point at each of my two analysts, we're on the same wavelength at all times because you're just finishing my sentences.
See, yeah, you're teeing me up, but I shoot triple bogeys in golf, so you're not really helping me here.
All right, Kevin. The coaching staff. A lot of the success for Minnesota can be chalked down to those guys.
Yeah, and it starts with Dave Winfield. He's the first base coach today for this Minnesota Twins Nike RBI team. He was the head coach last year, or Steve Winfield, Dave Winfield's brother.
That'd be crazy.
That'd
I
be
wish.
crazy.
I would be out there right now shaking his hand.
We're talking about Dave in between the commercial break, so I apologize. We're talking about Dave and how Steve, and everyone says that Steve's the better athlete. We got a chance to talk to Steve last year, and he was very positive about a situation that unfortunately just didn't go his way. I mean, we talked to him before the first game. He was super positive about the weekend. And before their third game, not even when they were 0-2 and out of contention for the championship, he's so positive, and he's all about just wanting to make the kids and the players' lives better. And that right there stems from building that culture within this type of program. And it starts with him, and it stems to his fellow coaches. It stems to his players as well.
And you talked about culture, right, and building up these players, these student athletes, these young men. It's what RBI is about at the end of the day.
You're exactly right. I mean, we've talked to so many different people this week. It's about giving these players an opportunity to shine on the big stage and give them a platform.
Walsh down the third base line. Can't be corralled by Sanchez, and runners will go to the corners. So Sanchez can't hang on. Dalma's at third, 90 feet away from the 10th run, and that would be crucial in this one. And there is Walsh, who is now 2 for 3 today.
Yeah, hard hit single there. Great effort there by Sanchez down at third. Try to make the diving play there. Got a piece of it. He saved extra bases, and he saved a run by getting that glove on it.
And I think something that went unnoticed for Sanchez is the wild pitch where Dalma moved up. He was saying wall, wall, wall from third. We could hear it all the way up here. There are some teams that don't have that on-field communication, and that's where it really kills them. So to see Kansas City have that even down 9 is a good sign.
Walsh goes. The catcher threw it. He probably shouldn't have, and the tag is not in time. There's the 10th run. They get him with the old, I'm going to steal second, and after you throw it over, you're going to steal home. And there it is, 10-0.
The Little League play.
Seen that story a bit too many times this summer.
The Little League play worked to perfection.
And that's getting the backup catcher. That's getting the backup catcher in a lot of ways, right? Like, maybe not fully heads up aware that that's a possibility, and he just throws it over.
Yeah, it's when you're not slotted to start, especially behind the dish. You are the field general back there. You're only deciding the pitches. You tell guys, hey, you may want to get into this positioning defensively, whether it's in or out. So when you now go to a guy and say, hey, the starter's gear wasn't working too well, we need you to come in right now. Figure it out. You're thrown into the shark pit. They're just out there. They're swimming around, and they smell blood in the water, and that sometimes doesn't allow the defense to really be in the best situation.
First run since the second inning for Minnesota. That hot start, 9 runs through the first 2. They've cooled off since, and there's another passed ball wild pitch type, and Walsh has moved to third, 90 feet away from making a clean 11.
And that right there, this run's almost more important because now you get this 11th run across. You can afford to give up a run in the bottom of the 5th inning now for Minnesota, too.
Gray tips it off, and we'll go full with only one out. That was a swinging bunt from Craig. Gonzalez checks it, throws it on over. That's textbook pitching there. It was almost, though.
That could have been bad.
A high throw, a little nervous.
He was falling and threw that across his body.
He almost threw that down the right field line.
He could have taken a half second. I get looking the runner back, and you don't want him to move up, but he didn't move a muscle over there at third. Walsh didn't even consider it.
Cray's not the guy with game-threatening speed in that kind of scenario where you have to take that kind of risk.
No, not at
No.
all.
You don't necessarily expect that from your first baseman, though. You're expecting a guy to really barrel it up and move guys over, and that's what he did that AB. Just couldn't get him home.
Smacked into the left field, and it's going to be well fouled down the third base line. This is still Eric Kane with Ezra Kuznia, the pitcher, in the on-deck circle. So the only guy that's going to pinch hit in this inning, as of right now at least, is Otto Bears, who got replaced. That was a weird throw. It got picked up. They've got him in a jam. He's now with Dominguez. They go third baseman, catcher, back to the third baseman, and Sanchez tags him out. Kansas City get out of the inning. They only give up one, but that's crucial because Minnesota's just 3 outs away from starting 2-0 in the 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament in Chicago, Illinois on WCSN. According to the rule book, Minnesota Twins are 3 outs away from picking up win number 2 of this 2023 season here in Chicago. It's 9-1-2. DeMarquion Jones, Ali Bishop Oliver, and the catcher, Jaxiel Dominguez, who will face Ezra Kuznia. Had a solid outing in the fourth, and now comes up in the 5th trying to close it out. Ryan Sikora, Austin Kroom, Kevin Malater. Austin, first game on the baseball side today. You had 2 yesterday. You've gotten a chance to see on the 18U bracket the Cubs and the Sox.
Yep.
Great game, 2-2. 2 competitive teams in a crosstown classic rivalry. How's Minnesota stack up against those 2 programs?
I think it's not as big of a David versus Goliath situation as some people might think. The fact that Minnesota, they've done this well today. Their pitching has been lights out. They probably could have gone to Walsh for another inning. I believe he was taken out due to his pitch limit. Other than that, you know what their offense has been. They've just been passing the batons back and forth, and they're playing ABC ball. Not every team can say that. You can see some other times they'll hit a single, and then it could go dead for an inning and a half. Twins, Nike, RBI have not seen that so far through this.
And, Cav, we stack them up against the Ace program because presumptively they are the favorite to win this bracket, right?
Yeah. We do stack them. We do stack them up against the Ace program just because of the two-time defending World Series champions. However,
I like that.
However, I wouldn't put them in that category quite yet.
Okay.
They're a very good ball club. Don't get me wrong.
Is there a reason as to why?
Well, I'm sold on them, but I'm not sold to say they're the favorites right now, if that makes sense.
Spoken like a true Cubs fan.
No, I don't think the Cubs are the favorites either.
No, I don't. I'm just saying, never back the Sox.
No, I think the Sox are the favorite. For
Jones
sure.
goes down. Are you talking about the Sox?
I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying.
Yeah, no. I was asking you about the Sox.
Oh, I thought you said Twins.
No. I said, how do the Twins stack up to the Sox? And to him, and then the question to you was, we compare them to the Sox because presumptively, the Sox are
the favorites.
The favorites. Yes. No. That's what. Yeah. No. The Sox are the favorite. Clear by far. They're the favorites. No. Yeah. I thought you were. The way you phrased that, I was like, you want me to talk about the Twins?
Okay.
We'll check the tape on that one later tonight.
Miscommunication, but regardless,
I got confused.
White
by
Sox,
the
Ace, Nike, RBI still seem to be the favorites here.
They're the favorites. Minnesota's climbing up the ranks quickly, though.
I think Cincinnati, as of right now, is a close second. We'll have to see Cleveland. We'll have to see Detroit.
Love to see Cleveland this year.
The Guardians, you'd expect to be high up there. Detroit can be hit or miss from what we've seen in the past and what we've known to the audience as the past has been. That one smacked almost like a softball-style slap shot down the first base line. Tried to leg it out and couldn't do it. That's 2 up, 2 down. Bishop Oliver goes wayward, and we believe, the Twins are 1 out away from a 2-0 start.
Yeah, and right there, that's just overall just phenomenal defense there. This Twins team, they're a really good defense team, and that's why I think they can stack up. I don't think they're the favorites, but their defense has been so strong this far. I just need to see more from that pitching staff right now, which has been strong in this second game, but I think you need to see more from the pitching staff. There's still a couple holes, some couple inconsistencies that White Sox Ace team really just doesn't seem to have.
I'd be interested to see how especially their middle infield defense stacks up against a team like Cincinnati or against White Sox Ace, because those are teams that really just pummel the baseball, and that can be sometimes difficult to get at. If it's really screamed at you on shortstop and you're ranging to your left, sometimes it goes under your glove because you're not expecting it. So I would really love to see that defense to offensive matchup.
They're going to go to first today, the Twins are, no matter what, unless, they can't, because the Guardians and the Tigers won't play 2 games fully today.
Tigers will play 2.
Tigers will play 2.
Yes.
Will the Guardians get into it? I guess they have to because they didn't play yesterday, but we just won't see them. So I also doubt anyone will touch a run differential of +11 as Kuznia plunks a batter, and the Royals, for now, stay alive as Dominguez goes to first. And I think they're going to call time on the day for Kuznia, make a pitching change. We'll take a break while they get warm. A little bit more on the standings update and the expectations for the next 2 days on the boys 18U seniors side at this 2023 MLB Nike RBI Midwest Regional. New pitcher into the game is Fred Myers, who started in right field for Minnesota in game number 1. Noah Jeffrey moves from center to right as Ezra Kuznia goes back in to the roaming spot in the outfield. And that first pitch from Myers is down in the dirt way in front of home plate for ball number 1 to Miguel Navarro. Jaxiel Dominguez is on first base. He's got a pinch runner, in fact, as they try and find their way out of this one. That's shoved foul down the third base line by Navarro. We'll get an idea on that pinch runner in just a second when we can. One and one with 2 outs. Swing and a miss, and they're a strike away. Royals could fall to 0-2 and essentially eliminate themselves from championship contention. Minnesota can put themselves right in the thick of it. The 1-2 got away from Myers. Pinch runner is Dante Finley for Kansas City. Class of 25 from Ruskin High School. Deuces wild, bottom of the 5th, 10-0 for the final out potentially. It's right back to Myers, collects and tosses, and they step on the bag in Minnesota. They went 0 a year ago. They start 2-0 on Friday, 2 wins from 2, and they do it in the second game in dominant fashion. They will jump straight up to the number 1 spot in our standings in the live moment. Boys, final thoughts? Give me something.
I thought the Twins, the fact that they had that early 9 runs in 2 innings and then had the great defense behind it, holds up to what we've been thinking and talking about the past 20 minutes or so. They're here to play and they're here to win. It doesn't matter who they're facing. I think they really could go up against the matchup against anybody, including that White Sox ace team. For the game of baseball, we saw it with a team like the Nationals when they won the World Series a couple years ago. All you got to do is get on a hot streak and keep rolling, and I think the Twins could be getting towards that point.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, they're a fundamentally sound team, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They are a very fundamentally sound team, and they deserve to win both these ball games today, especially this one. They just absolutely dominate from start to finish using the fundamentals.
Final lines for this one today. The Royals lose, put up 0 runs, get 5 hits, 1 error. They leave 6 on the path. For Minnesota, 10 runs, 11 hits, no errors, and they only strand 6. It was a dominant performance from the Twins RBI club, and they look pretty good. They've got to find a way to survive. One more day of pool play tomorrow. That'll be Saturday. We've got one more coming up after this on the Windy City Sports Network family of channels. We're done today on 2. We got one more on 1. It's going to go back to Kevin and I, and Kevin's going to take over the duties. It's a good one. It's Tigers-Cubs. We finally get a chance to see the team from Detroit. Final score here for the 4 o'clock game. It's Twins 10, Royals 0. For Austin Kroom and Kevin Malater, I've been Ryan Sikora saying goodbye on Windy City Sports